what has that been for you on a human level? What's that been for you dealing with that? And how have you carried yourself through this, like on an emotional, spiritual level? Because I think a lot of people want to have a little insight into what it's been like dealing with everything in such a dramatic way.
Well, as I mentioned, it's been a roller coaster, and we've had some amazing days, like the day our vaccine got approved in the Middle East. It's a lifetime achievement. As I think Jay said, the last vaccine that was developed in Australia that got all the way to approval was the Q fever vaccine, developed in Adelaide by Barry Marmion in the early 1980s. So suddenly we realised we've developed the first Australian vaccine for humans in just over 40 years. Obviously, we have the flu vaccine, which has been around for donkey's years and gets changed each year. But in terms of a novel vaccine against a new virus, this is the first in 40 years. So, yeah, we felt, it was just the most amazing achievement. And then it was like the next day, we were under attack, for daring to develop a vaccine. It was like the most paradoxical situation you can imagine in your life when you think you've climbed to the top of Mount Everest and everyone's trying to push you to the bottom of the ocean and drown you. And, so yeah, that led to some pretty dark days. No question. I prefer not to go into it, but to say I understand, why some people aren't with us anymore. You go there, but then you realise you have responsibilities. I think that's the thing. You might, from your own personal perspective, go, there are solutions, but ultimately you have to tell yourself that you have a bigger task, which is to look after other people and to correct the wrongs. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And so you just force yourself to keep going. And I think Jay and I have had all-nighters, and and as he says, it's just day, night, it never stops. If we spend a day in court, I have to spend all night trying to catch up on the science and keep that going, the research going. So it's insane, but it's like, yeah, you just have to tell yourself this is the reason I'm on the planet. I just have to suck it up and deal with it, but it ain't easy.
Yeah.
And as I say, it can be a struggle, but I guess if you're spiritual or you believe in humanity, you're sort of not left with a choice. It's unfortunate, as Jay says, is it crazy? But I don't think it is. I think it's that's what makes humans humans. We all have to look after each other. And if you have a gift, or I've been very fortunate in my research. I've had a lot of funding from the US government. I've had some brilliant scientists working with me. It's been a real pleasure, and I have a duty to give back, and that's by giving back my science, including expert reports to the courts, even if the consequences of that are pretty dire on a personal level.
Yeah. And I think that's why so many people connect with you, Nikolai, not just as a scientist, but as a human being, because you can see the love coming out of your work. And it's hard to see that, even with politicians and scientists these days. Everything's quite robotic. But with you, you still have that old school scientist kind of vibe, that's to say. So that's, I think, a big factor in why you have such huge support. Like, looking at the comments now, lots of people are just sending love. So yeah, what I got out of that, what you just said, is that love has got you through all this, and that's a really powerful message, especially now with the mental health crisis we're dealing with in Australia.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I just wanted to say two things on that, George. So obviously, the last 2 years, ramping has been a massive issue.
Mm-hmm.
And it's directly related to understaffing. And these mandates have clearly caused understaffing to the point where you could almost correlate the resignations, people not re-signing contracts, people quitting and being terminated with actual deaths of people waiting for ambulances and everything like that, right? Who's orchestrating that is Grant Stevens, your police commissioner, and Nicholas Spiri, your chief public health officer, led by your premier Milanauskas, right? These are people who were put in position to make our lives better, to make South Australian lives better. And they're taking these active steps to make us weaker, sicker, and have a weaker system of protection in public health, right? Then you hear someone like Nikolai and what he just said, and you go, wouldn't a logical government promote Nikolai's message and promote someone like Nikolai and his research and his dedication to research? And while I won't go into extreme detail about his case while it's live, he is being destroyed. His research is being destroyed. They are trying to kick him out. We have told them, why does this even have to go to court? This is, whether you have an indifference with him or not, medical research and the protection of the people of South Australia is more important than any little, differences you have between people, right? The research is more important than everything, right? That is the medical ethical code and the research code and even the animal ethics code that they all adhere to. Yet all of that has been thrown out by the people I've just mentioned with absolutely no recognition of anything we're talking about or what I'm saying. And I'm have to say I am not exaggerating. This is the reality of what is happening. Nick's research is potentially going to be destroyed, especially his cancer vaccine, if he isn't allowed to continue to do his research at the Flinders Medical Centre for your benefit, for my benefit, for all our benefits, not just the people currently in the trial who could potentially survive if they're given this up and coming cancer vaccine, which has shown promise in the past. And these are people with terminal stage 4 cancer who have tried everything, right? This is their last hope. Whether it works or not is irrelevant. If they don't have it, that is it, right? That is Australians' lives right now. And we are being stopped from being able to save these people's lives and develop this cancer vaccine and generally push research forward in the cure for cancer, which is going to affect all our lives, all our parents' lives and our kids' lives. And we've had to go to the federal court. That first instance, they've rejected the notion that our research was important enough to justify an injunction, right? We're going to be there tomorrow. That's all I'm going to say for now, because I know a lot of people are aware of this and want to hear an update on it. But the thing I want people to take away from all of this is we shouldn't have to go to court to get this over the line. We are fighting for humanity and for society and for your lives, whether you know who we are or not. And your own government, your own taxes in a cost of living crisis is being going towards them and their legal team to destroy us and therefore destroy the benefit that you get from people like us fighting for you. Everyone needs to understand that and feel that and realize that's the Australia we live in right now. I just want to make that point very, very clear.